We're Sentinels, we sing, raise our swords, our hearts professing honor to a legion king. Our emblem, the griffin soaring, guides us as we fight, roaring strength and valor in each night's quest. Clothed in glory, we are blessed. Great Sentinels, almost almighty lords chosen. In our ranks, our spirits awake. With the griffins and the nail bound, let the chorus resound. Here we doth raise our swords and duty, bound by honor, bound by grace, fighting steadfast and true. In the world of fair, our sacred place, led by our Lord and doing came on, under the griffin's sharp gaze, we stand. In battles fought, our valor proven, a righteous missionary moving. Teach us, griffin ever soaring, all truth, no matter the cost, guiding our blades, our hearts exploring. Justice reigns, here to be lost. Uphold truth, no matter the cost. Raise our swords, our hearts professing honor to our legion king. In battles fought, our valor proven, our righteous missionary moving. With the griffin's emblem bound, let the chorus resound. Steel and war, golden peace, now let the chorus resound. Steel and war, golden peace, now let the chorus resound.
Okay, hello everybody. Let me just get a few things set up here and we are going to be starting the show. All right, we're bringing the scene back up, okay?
There we go.
This will be better. The first episode, guys. First episode, guys. What's up?
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you for being here.
We appreciate it. So we are just going to play this in the background, and of course VLC is going to move things in size for me because it loves me so very much. All right.
What's up, Bergen? Forsaken brother.
So thank you, first of all, Chibi and all the follows. Chibi for the raid from the Golden Feather Tavern. So super big thanks and shout outs to you for that. Already with a bunch of people coming in. Really appreciate it. I see a bunch of Sentinels in here ready to watch the show. You guys are kind of like already in Discord as well. So really cool to see. I appreciate all that. But yeah, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm Lude Lloyd. I'm joined by my glorious guildmaster and co-host, Anduin Kayvon.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah. We're coming at you live from the Ashes, and if you're not aware, we are the Grey Sentinels, and we are an RP PVX guild for Ashes of Creation, and we're just here to talk about some things happening around the community. Just as a forewarning, this is an introductory episode, and also apparently there was already a podcast that was named From the Ashes, so good thing we know for the first episode that we know we might have to be rebranding, but we'll figure that out. We'll figure that out very shortly. I found out literally today as I'm doing like social media stuff, so that was really cool to find out.
Their last episode was 2020, so it's been a while ago.
Whoops. So anyways, Anduin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's a beautiful day out, and I'm in here doing this podcast with you. So, you know, I think it's gonna be fun. We got a lot to talk about today. So
it's great. So I know we were talking about a lot of things that we could discuss today, and but first and foremost, I think we should probably bring up what is Grey Sentinels and why is our motto Golden Peace, Righteous in War?
Well, so first off, Lloyd, it's Golden Peace, Steel and War.
Steel and War.
Yeah,
oh
yeah,
my god, I already effed this up. You're
It's
kidding me.
fine. It is what it
You're
is.
kidding me.
That's why it's the first episode, Lloyd.
I'm a part of this guild. I know everything about it inside and out. You're all in safe hands, just so you're
So
all aware.
let me tell you right now. It's Golden Peace, Steel and War.
Heard.
The wartime motto is righteous and wrath. So you like combine the two. So like you're there. You're just kind of feeling around in the dark.
Yeah.
So
It's in the song. Oh yeah.
it's in this.
I I definitely read those lyrics 100%.
Right, right. But okay. So a big reason why is so just behind the motto of Golden Peace, Steel and War, the idea is we're all about prosperity. We're all about building up those around us, securing safety for our friends, and making sure that our members are getting the best out of their experiences they can. The Steel and War part comes kind of with the idea that oftentimes role players are seen as soft targets, as easy targets, and I and the rest of the PvPers in Grey Sentinels are definitely planning to show that it is not an easy target to go against. So that's kind of where the Steel and War comes from. We definitely are going to be fighting anyone who threatens us, and we're going to be going out of our way to accomplish the various tasks that we want, even if there's a challenge in the way. So
So yeah, just so everybody's aware, I am part of the PvP section of the guild. We have different types of branches. I don't think there's any secrets going on if you're an outside guild trying to get in some inside information. Probably won't get a lot of inside information, but we do have different branches, and I'm part of the PvP section of it. And I just want to let everybody know I'm not like an officer or anything. I'm just a regular member of the guild at the moment. And Anduin is the guild master. So just to clear that space, we are just kind of doing this to inform people and talk about Ashes of Creation in general. So
Lloyd's just some dude,
I'm just some dude, guys.
Oh,
Yeah. So I
but
don't know.
let me kind of give the pitch. What's the what's the Gray Sentinels? What's the point? What sets us apart from other groups? Uh, let's go with the first part is Gray Sentinels is all about the idea of we're coming from the world of Sanctus. We someplace that war has happened. There's been no magic. We've lost our ancestral homeland, and now we're returning back to Vera. The idea is in this guild we're trying to claim not only a our ancestral homeland back, our birthright back, but we're also trying to build up a more kind of inclusive world in the idea of all of the races can come together and work together to build a new nation in Vera, one that not only strives to better the world around it but also protects the weak, and ensures that the members of this nation are prosperous. So, like, the Gray Sentinels is all about this kind of guiding principle of bettering the world around us. The idea of fighting for the greater good. But the greater good can be whatever you deem the greater good is at that time. So it's kind of whatever our guild is going for whatever challenge kind of deems at that time. Um, the reason like why Grey Sentinel sticks out amongst roleplay guilds, I think the easiest way to put it is we're trying to mix mechanics and roleplay and the storytelling. It's the idea that whenever you join into roleplay guilds, odds are in most games you're just going to be sitting around rolling dice, looking at spreadsheets, the basics, and each event's going to take 5 hours, and it's going to revolve around like two or three people, and the other people are all just red shirts along for the ride.
Mhm.
Gray Sentinels wants to avoid that idea, Lloyd. It's the idea that you know, every single member matters. Your contribution matters. Well, yes, I'm way at the top. I'm still going to interact with every single member in the guild, and every single guild member is all going to be contributing to the guild and influencing where the story goes. That's not something you get in every single roleplay guild. Oftentimes, it's literally the people up top are the only ones who decide anything, and they're the ones who influence where everything goes. We're not doing that. If people push the story a certain way, that's where our story is going. We're going to react to the world around us. If a neighboring node is besieged, we're going to react to that in roleplay. If a giant dragon burns down like half the node, we're going to react to that. I think not using the mechanics of the world in your roleplay is absolutely silly, and it I think it detracts from you know, many players who want to be light role players, uh, but they just don't have the time to sit around rolling dice or talking in a tavern for, hours on end. And they don't want to decide between, slaying that dragon or going to a role play event. So we combine the two. Why don't we slay the dragon in character? Why don't we siege the town in character? Do those things. So it gives people kind of that, you know, immersive escapism that people are looking for. So,
Yeah. And just to add on to that, like, that is one of the main reasons why I joined Grey Sentinels and why I thought the RP community and Ashes of Creation is going to be like really, really awesome. Is simply just because the game mechanics allow you to basically be in game immersive with your role play, and you don't really have to like step into a character very hard. Like it kind of naturally happens with how the system mechanics are just naturally being implemented into the game. So you have like your node wars, you have like just all the gathering and crafting, the player shops, the stalls, everything is like all interconnected. You could be a crafter, you could be a warrior, a soldier, or whatever. You could just be a regular adventurer, a nomad, whatever you want to be. And most of the game systems are just naturally immersive, and it's really, really easy to just get into these systems. Primarily, I'm just gonna like kind of break this. Thank you guys so much for all the follows. You guys are amazing. Vladis, Penumbral, Rootbeard, Canadian, the Golden Feather, Talrun Forge, EPK, Burgund, 24 Garrett, Gold, Lord XP, Colonel, Anduin. What? That's you. You followed
yes,
us.
me.
Exiled Ranger, Elo, Shadow Flame. Everybody's here. Everybody here is here, and it's awesome. Thanks guys so much for the follows. Really feeling the love on the first episode. But yeah,
Yep.
I definitely do think and agree with you on the just the general aspect of like role play entering into the systems itself, and that we are here to be the protectors of Vera. We are technically the guild that is trying to stop Ashes of being the gank box MMO, right? Like we are like, if you're ganking random people in Vera, we're gonna hunt you. We're gonna come get you, and we're gonna do it in for like our justice, right?
Right. I think it's oftentimes, I think a guild that looks out for other people oftentimes is seen as a guild that's passive, that is only defensive. That kind of leans into the whole idea of what does gray mean.
Yeah.
So, gray in the ideas of gray sentinels is we're called gray because yeah, we're going to be out there to protect the small guy, the little guy, but that doesn't mean we're not going to go besiege a castle because we want it, or fight in node wars that as mercenaries and stuff. The idea is that gray is a representative of our ideals. We view the world in more of a neutral way. We want to help out people, we want to create peace, but it's peace on our terms, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And like one of the obstacles of like this morality of being gray is like we do need to, if we want to be like the top resourcers of and like being able to protect people, we kind of have to have a place in the world. So that means if something is good for us to do so that we can have those resources, even if it means being a little bit morally unjust, but justice for us for having the greater good in mind, that's something that we might pursue. So we may, to some people, be the villains, right?
I mean, you're always the villain to someone.
That's
So
true.
let's just, I think that's the big thing about Ashes is that because of how it's designed, yeah, there will be absolutely evil guys, evil people, but I think it's going to be a lot more gray interactions. Like you're going to have the politics that happen between the different groups that they're not necessarily bad guys. They just have motives and goals that contradict your own. So that's kind of what I'm excited for when it comes to all of that. So yeah.
When we're talking about like being the bad guy or the villain or whatever, do you happen to think like we're pretty friendly with most guilds? Like we talk to like Dunheim, we talk to the Revis Order, we talk to Nexus quite a bit. I mean, we're pretty friendly for the most part. Am I right? Or how are we standing with? Do we have any enemies? I'm not sure. There could be like political stuff happening in the background. I'm unaware. I'm little peon dude. I don't know what's
You're
going
just
on.
some dude,
I'm
right?
just some dude, guys. I don't know what's happening. Where do we stand before the game is even launched? How about that?
Yeah, I mean, so like out of character, like out of the game, we're gonna be friendly with everyone. We don't want to create any enemies or any bad blood between anyone until the game's out there. Obviously, there's guilds out there that have actively stated they're going to harass the roleplay community. Those ones we will actively stand up against. The other idea is while we're planning to help out literally anyone who crosses our path, if people get in the way of whatever goals we have at the time, well, they might, not necessarily be our rivals or our enemies, but at that time they're our opponents. So, I think it's less of, we're not looking for enemies until an enemy kind of unveils themselves, reveals themselves, if you will. So,
I think our number one rule in the Discord is don't be a dick, right? So we catch you
yeah,
being a dick, maybe you're gonna catch some hands, dude.
yep.
Uh
Absolutely.
fuck around and find out. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, so Vladis and Bergen were saying that they don't want RP servers because or and they want RPers to be on their server and they don't really want RP servers to be separated. I definitely agree. I think as to Bergen's point that every server is technically an RP server. So
Right, I mean, with how the game's designed, like the quote I always like to use when I'm talking to the roleplay community, whenever we're talking about lore and what's in character and what's immersion, and is Steven is designing the game in mind with mechanics equal lore, mechanics equal immersion. So the idea that every single server is a roleplay server, I agree. However, this is my thought process, is the role players are going to go where the role players are. Role players want to play with other role players so they can play those stories out, so they can add more depth to why a castle is being sieged, other than one guild leader wants a shiny crown and the other guild leader wants that shiny crown also. you know
mhm,
it's the idea that, if you're a role player, you're wanting to tell all those stories and see how those stories turn out. So even if there isn't an official role play server, there will be an unofficial one that's decided by the community.
mhm,
And I think the issue with not having a role play server is more along the lines of it just creates extra steps for role players having to find other role players,
mhm,
which can be like a negative thing, because unlike PvP, unlike PvE, unlike economics, our peers need other role players. You can't role play by yourself. I mean, you can. I've seen people do that, but it's not the same experience.
I
It's
think
not
it was Cash who was walking around Stormwind, role playing, talking to NPCs, just walking around, just going,
right.
good duty to you, sir, to the guard NPC. So yeah.
Right, exactly. You can do that. You can live in the world. It's like when you're playing Skyrim or whatever. You can experience that, immersiveness.
Mhm.
But I think that uh the downsides to having a role play server are, not that many. Sure, role players all go to this server, but role players are going to leave servers anyway. Like they're not going to be on the quote unquote server one where all the PvPers are. They're not going to be on where all of the big streamer guilds are. They're going to go where the roleplay community is. And that's the difference is the tag, the positives of having that tag. Well, people can find it easily. If you're a brand new person, not in a guild, uh, don't know anyone, just coming fresh in, and you're looking for a server and you're a role player, you see the little role play tag, you're going to go there. Do griefers happen? Do people go to the role play server just to grief? They do. It happens. But I'm not afraid of it. I don't want any extra rules. Like, I'm anti Care Bear. I'm not about people having special rules like PvP turned off on a server or anything. I think that's dumb. It
Yeah.
defeats the whole point of the game, right?
It,
Uh
when you're taking away systems from the game itself to create a safe space for people, I think it's weird. Um
right. Exactly.
it's like
Safe
you're not playing
spaces
the
are
game, you're playing something else. You're playing something
Mhm.
that's designed for well, not what it was intentionally designed for.
Right. I mean, if you want that experience, you can go to ESO, you can go to Final Fantasy, you can go to World of Warcraft. All of these have non uh PvP areas, so that my idea is more along the lines if you have this type of system, it's a boon for role players and it really doesn't harm the game because you're not instituting rules and regulations. All you're doing is just adding a little tag next to the server.
Mhm.
No no special anything.
Yeah. I can see your point there, and it I guess, yeah, regardless whether there's an RP in front of the server or not, somebody will just make an RP server regardless, whether it's official
Right.
or unofficial. So,
Mhm.
we can definitely see your point
Yeah.
regarding
I
that.
mean, yeah, I mean, Vladis pointed out earlier, it's the idea, going back to his original point of, he wants role players to be on the server he's playing because he enjoys watching it, seeing the immersion, interacting with role players. The problem is the role players are just not going to be there unless you're on the role play server. And the role play community, unlike all of the other communities, even though there's a ton of drama in every single roleplay community I've ever been in, roleplay communities are the most united and biggest collective of all of the different like types of content there is for an MMO RPG. So they are going to organize to go somewhere. And you just aren't going to have that experience with PvP, PvE, and others. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So I know that a lot of people look down on RPers as being Careberry and easy to kill, especially when it comes to PvP and things like that, or maybe a little bit more lax, and might be a little bit weird if you start looking at certain servers on WoW and certain taverns. But I want to know for the Gray Sentinels, how hardcore are we as a guild? I know we want to be able to gather resources. We want to be able to, you know, be the protectors in the world, and somehow we have to get that. So, how hardcore are we going to be as a guild?
Hardcore parkour, man. The idea is we're going to approach the game however heavy we need to be able to enjoy it. We want to be some level of competitive so we can get involved in all aspects of the game. From top tier rating to sieges, to caravans, and picking flowers out in the wild. It's the idea that we will be as competitive and hardcore content wise as our guild needs to be for our members to be able to do all aspects of the game, so no one's missing out. I mean, I do think that smaller guilds will struggle with hitting all the content because they just don't have the numbers to push through raids to be able to compete with the bigger guilds that might have those on lockdown, or getting involved in sieges and different things like that.
But that kind of raises
So
a good point or a good question
yeah,
I have. So currently we're standing at how many members, and how many are going to be A2 or Alpha 2?
sorry. Say the question again.
Yeah, how many members are we currently sitting at, and how many are going into Alpha 2? Do we know?
Uh, well, Shay, our lovely court scribe, um, has been gathering information from our recent census, and currently we have around 100 people that have filled out the census. Now, those are our active members. Those are the people who regularly show up, who participate, get involved. There's an additional, I think, 170 more people that have to fill out the census that have Sentinel tags.
So
So
we're pretty much already pretty close to the cap for Ashes of Creation. We're
yeah, if everyone shows up day one, I'm gonna just be like, "Oh Jesus!" It's like the worst nightmare for me that we're gonna get like to 400 members because people are gonna want their friends in the guild. And I've been saying this entire time: join the guild early so you can lock down your space. Because I would rather not, open another guild because that sounds awful. So yeah. Oh,
so
147 pending. There you go. Thank you, Shay.
perfect. So leading into my next thing, I'm gonna get to Vladis's question here in a second. Um, but leading into the numbers thing, obviously we'll probably have a lot of those numbers drop off. We'll have more people come in as the game it gets closer to launch. So we're still very flexible. We don't even have all of our positions or anything like that. So we're kind of just playing it by ear and kind of like using A2 as a way to kind of get our foundation as a guild and keep moving forward, right? So with guild sizes being max 300, we don't plan on having like an alt guild or anything, right? We would just want to be the main guild and kind of focus on whatever Intrepid decides to do with as far as like guild size with just this guild. We're not trying to be like a mega guild or anything, right?
No, no. I mean, the goal is not to be a mega guild. We're planning to at max have 300 members. My soft cap is like 250 though. I really do not want to get all the way up to 300. Um, you know, if in somehow in the next, 2 years or however long it takes for the game to launch, if we get
We might be
six,
in
seven.
alpha for 2 years, brother.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. You know, you're right. You're right. But like, let's say we get 600 members by the time Ashes comes out, and they're somehow all active. Then the question will be: is do we open another guild? And I think that'll be a serious discussion for that time. But as it sits right now, and obviously that's a ridiculous happening. That would be us joining into other MMOs, recruiting heavily from them, doing all sorts of active recruitment that we're actively not doing right now because we're looking for quality members, but we want to make sure that anyone we bring in meets our standards. So
I actually don't
uh
know this question yet, but
yeah.
if we get that many members, is it like I know we have people from EU, we have people from Australia. So if we get that many members, would you be open to having like continent based like servers, like different guilds on different servers, like on like the European servers versus NA servers, or are you just mostly trying to be on the NA server?
I mean, my goal is NA. Most people that have joined with the idea or with the knowledge that we're going to be on the NA servers. Um, but I think it's one of those that if there's enough EU people and the leadership team is there amongst the EU people, then potentially we might, bring on an EU form of the guild. But my idea is that if we do open any secondary guilds, they will be NA because we're going to be working alongside them. Uniting all those resources. So
Right.
yeah, I mean it's a tough question. Obviously it's far in the future, and I'm very much the type of person where I would like to see active people stick around, stay in the Discord, get involved in the various different events we have or whatever. But I mean, Lloyd, you've been with us since what, 2021, 20, or something like.
Somewhere I started following Ashes of Creation around 2020, so it
Yeah,
wasn't too long before I was like in the Ashes forums and I just saw the Gray Sentinels. I guess I can just add my little background here of why I joined the Gray
there you
Sentinels.
go.
Hey, let's segue. Yeah, so I mean, like, yeah, I was kind of just browsing around the forums and saw your guys' guild post and was like, Gray Sentinels, I like the color gray. Let me see what that's about. And then literally walked in, saw the PVX, saw the branch uh set up and how you guys wanted to do that. I wasn't really sure how available I was going to be. I still don't know how available I'm going to be in the future, but the goal is that I want to play competitively in Ashes of Creation.
Mhm.
And I have never actually role played in an MMO really. I've done theater, I've done D&D, so like I enjoy immersing myself into a character, but I actually don't know how to role play in an MMO, and that was a question that Vladis asked earlier. So, do you have a way of explaining that? I know there was a bunch of helpful answers in the chat. Thank you, chat, for that. But do you have any? Obviously, you have a lot of experience with role playing in MMOs. So, would you like to enlighten me on how we do that, or how the community has generally done that in the past?
Yeah, so I mean, if you have no experience with roleplay and you're trying to get into roleplay, I mean, the easiest way to treat it is think of it like D&D without all the dice rolling. It's D&D where you're reacting off of other people. Another way to look at it is the the more complex answer is think everyone is writing their own stories, right? But we're all characters in each other's story, and we can only write our own story, but our
Mhm.
story might impact the other stories around us. So,
It's like a ripple effect.
yeah, it's a ripple effect. I mean, if you're truly if you truly want to be a skilled role player, you react to the things around you. You create flaws in your character. You create strengths in your character. And you kind of assume the identity of whoever your character is. You got to ask yourself. You know, who is this character, like, you know d- are they an orphan because their parents died, which is like the
Obviously,
stand. They're a role play
obviously.
character. They obviously the parents died. That's how it's always goes, right?
Who?
you
What
know
parents? They're on Sanctus. I've never heard of them. They
right,
left me
it's
as a child, and I was sent through a portal because I'm cringe.
right. You're like the 20th child of the family. Like you're so out of the inheritance that they're just like, send Lloyd away. What filth. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
it's
kind of like if you're trying to be the hero of like any story, it's really hard to like have a loving, caring family and not some sort of tragic backstory, right? Because we all like
right.
grow from like pain. So like usually when you're forced to face certain hardships in your life, that's when you grow as a person and grow into the hero arc, if you will.
Right.
But there
Right.
are a lot of people that just like playing like, hey, I'm bartender B, like so
I
I
mean,
mean,
some of the best role players I've ever ran into have been bartender B.
yeah, true.
Uh, some people that you run into, literally, they will stand guard at like a post
I will
office
never
in.
understand that.
And
I will
no,
never
they stand
understand
there
it.
all day. They like, for example, in ESO. ESO was kind of the epitome of seeing what immersive roleplay could be. And one of the experiences I remember that was the funniest thing ever. A few of like the founders of GS way back when had played when ESO first came out. There was a guild that was a religious guild, and they were Dunmer, and they had guards that would stand to protect the temples and stuff. So these guards would stand out there for literal hours, and not no one would interact with them.
It's so
So
crazy. They're
so
just like the England guards that just like stand still
yeah,
with the
yeah,
big
yeah.
ass hats. Like
But right, but like they interact with people that walk by, they salute, they
Mhm.
they do those things. But the funniest thing is that, me and these two members made throwaway characters.
Oh
We
god.
made we made three sickly orcs.
Oh yes.
One was the grandfather, one was the son, and one was the father. And we went in there and like we're like, help our poor grandfather. He's sick. And like since they're Dunmer, they're like, they're a little racist. So like
Yeah.
they started bullying and like they pushed the
Wait, the
grandfather over.
stationary guards just started bullying you?
Yeah, they started bullying us because we're orcs and they're Dunmers. So like they pushed the grandfather over, but we're next to stairs. So the one guild member, he rolls down the stairs and he's like, "I'm dying," and then we like act out this whole like how could you do this? And it was like basically Princess Bride, like you killed my grandfather.
That, that's so amazing. No,
It
I
was
love those like
yeah.
when you're just walking around in the world and you just see some random shit like that happen. You're just like, "Oh my god, what is happening? What's going on?"
Exactly.
So like,
It's
yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Oh man. So, so we kind of went off on like a whole different
Yeah,
thing, but like I'm kind of like open to talking about like whatever here. So like we just have a bunch of like RPing things that have happened in the past. We've talked about our guild and like how hardcore we want to be. We've talked about guild sizes. I guess we definitely want to try to aim for a guild hall. I know there's some people that want to do taverns and stuff like that. And people that want to like competitively make it to 50 so they can get a freehold and use that for processing and stuff. So it's not just role play itself. Like we are actually attempting to do things in the game and do things as a guild. Um I know I kind of want to just speak on this in general. Other guilds can take this. They can. I don't care. The more competitive, the more fun for me. I plan on doing a bunch of like military training stuff with the guild. So like not only are we learning in-game mechanics, but we're playing and like training up our military as a guild. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of these things that we can do just as individuals that can affect both RP and game mechanics, which is as you described, Steven's main intention and kind of like the guild's intention is to do both of these things. So yeah, I like doing that. Is there anything that you are really looking forward to doing in Ashes of Creation, whether it's for the guild, just role play, or just playing in Ashes of Creation?
You know, so first I gotta correct you on one thing.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not we're wanting a guild hall. No, we are going to get a barony. We're
Okay.
going to be making, the Gray Sentinels HQ. It's not a if we can. No, that is our primary goal amongst everything, because with that we get to build plots, we get to do all sorts of different things within this, and members. will be more likely to actually have their own unique space compared to the limited amount of freeholds that will be in the world. Um, but when it comes to the game, I'm honestly like, RP is huge to me. And I'm really looking forward to the stories. But I think for me, I'm actually wanting the PvP. Like we got a little bit of a taste of it in A1. We got to see a little bit of PvP in the caravan live stream, and uh I think
Well,
PvP is
you're
going to be.
you're a PI tester, so you were a part of that video.
I
I
can
saw
neither
you in it.
confirm nor deny that I
I
was there.
saw you in the video.
I would never do that. But anyway, you know, I'm all about the PvP, man. Like I love the idea of going out there, fighting other people, building up different builds, trying to min max. And I know there's a bunch of sweaty people in PvP or in GS that also want to do the same thing as me. They want to go out there and PvP. you know Over the years we've had people who, they have left the guild for one reason or another. Some of the times people are like, well, this is not a competitive enough guild for me. And to those people, I always say the same thing: the guild is only going to be as competitive as our membership makes it. If we
Mhm.
have people who want to compete, want to push, want to be min maxers, do these things, we're going to do those things. But
Oh,
it's
no, I'm gonna do those things regardless. So
you're going to do those
I'm gonna
things.
do
Yeah,
those
yeah, yeah,
things. So whether I have followers or not, I'm gonna be doing them.
yeah.
So welcome to the Gray Sentinels, where I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want to do, guys. I'm gonna do it,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be fun.
Right.
Come join.
You know, no, exactly. It's let's kick some ass. Let's do what we need to do to put our name out there and to make sure our members can enjoy the game as much as possible. Because every single person that's a PVE main or a roleplay main, they always come to me once they find out there's open world PvP, and they always go, I don't know if this game's going to be good for me. I'm scared. And I'm like, don't be scared. We're going to kick their ass together. I'll
Yeah.
even teach you how to kick their ass.
We had a census last year. We do a census every year. We're currently going
Yeah.
through our process right now. We're hunting down people. But last year we had like two people say, "Nah, I don't even want to learn how to PvP," and like everybody else is like, "Yeah, I'm down to learn." Like,
Yep.
so that's kind of like the culture that we're cultivating is like we're not a PvP guild by any means, but nobody in the guild except for a very very few amount of people are going to be wanting to be stepped on, so that they're
Mhm.
willing to at least learn how to defend themselves, defend their freeholds, defend their nodes, all this stuff. So we do have an economic part of the guild. We do have a PVE portion part of the guild. I know we've talked a lot about PvP, but Ashes has a lot of PvP mechanics. So we definitely
Mhm.
have more sections that are available to all types of players, and
Right.
how we're going to be approaching the game in general. Um,
Lloyd, let you in on a little secret here.
I'm learning.
Just the tiniest one here. You know, that the secret is that everyone's going to PvP in the guild. If the situation calls for it, if we're being attacked, our node comes under attack, everyone's going to fight, because at the end of the day, if our node is under attack, that's all of our hard work at risk.
That's my
And
house.
it's our house. And if I go and I see someone that's online and they go, "No, I'm not really feeling PvP right now."
I'm kind of
That's
crafting.
Yeah, I'm kind of
I'm making
crafted.
shoes.
Yeah, I just don't, our PvP scares me. No, that's like a quick way for it to get on my bad side, and like for me to go, well, this person doesn't care about the guild. They don't care about all the stuff the guild could potentially lose. Their friends could lose. Like there comes a time in every MMO player's life when they have to defend their home, and
Yep.
And I think
That's just the greatest thing about Ashes, though, is like
right,
it
right.
gives you things to care about. Like
Exactly.
it gives
We
you
actually
things to
lose
fight
stuff.
over. I love it so
I know,
much. I hope it succeeds because goddamn, I've been waiting for a long time.
right?
But yeah,
Oh,
no, I definitely think that there's a lot of fun stuff with uh, that just enables everything about
right.
the guild wanting to use Ashes of Creation and all of its systems as a way to like play the game in its full extent, no matter what type of player you are. And I think a lot of guilds, we're not the only guild that's doing this stuff, right? There's plenty other guilds that are also doing these
Mhm.
things. Like I saw Pirate Software, Thor, he's running a guild. He's doing a lot of the same systems that we're doing. So there's plenty of other guilds that are like, I mean, Thor's on a whole nother level. He's trying to do mega guild status.
Right.
Obviously not us, but like there are other guilds that are out there doing that. I know this is a Gray Sentinels Guild podcast and we're kind of doing propaganda out here, but just letting you know there's a guild out for you if we're not the guild for you.
Yep.
Um
Absolutely.
so yeah, if
You
you
know.
are one of those people that like, I don't want to PvP at all. All right, well, sorry, Gray Sentinels is probably not the guild for you. But,
Right.
uh we hope you have fun and we hope you enjoy Ashes.
Hmm.
And if you're ever getting attacked, you can call on us. You can pay us some pretty penny and I'll come protect you. So,
Right.
um yeah, I think
You
we've
know.
talked. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I always like the GIF I always play when it comes to PvP is that Starship Troopers. Uh, the quote where it's like, there's only
I've
one
seen this a few
rule.
times.
Yes, everybody fights, no one quits. If you don't do that, I'll shoot you myself. That's our philosophy, man. We're all in it together. Like, I don't care if people are poor PvPers.
Hmm.
What matters to me is that people are out there giving it their all and that they are trying to help out the guild and trying to defend our home. It really does come down to the fact that I'm doing yes. Jesus. But yeah,
I'm
like,
combing the desert.
I'm combing the desert. We ain't found shit.
He's got a pick. Oh my god, that is
Oh,
such a
God.
good movie, man. Anyways, sorry, sorry.
No, 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 you're good, you're good. But yeah, like, that I don't care about how good someone PvPs. I just care that they're in the line next to me fighting as hard as they can even if they can't do that well. Cuz that matters more to me is if people are actually caring, if people are putting their money where their mouth is, that, we all talk about being in this
The
guild,
body where my house is.
the body where my house. Exactly. You know, I think a core tenant, a core recruitment thing that a lot of people, a lot of new members have talked about is they wanted to join us because they kind of lost that feeling of being part of a family, a community with guilds. And that was something that was in MMOs a while ago,
Hmm.
that you had guild loyalty, you had a place you called home, where your friends are. It's the cheers of all places. It's a
Yeah,
place. Yeah.
I was gonna say like that is something that I have we've severely lost as gamers, right? Is
Mm,
the sense of a community of like a guild. Like right now, you just go to like literally any guild. Like which one has the most resources that I can just you know uh pick mooch off of basically and just get the best resources because they have a large guild size and they've been around for a very long time and they've been doing stuff actively on the in the game. So I get these resources and I don't need to talk to anybody in the guild. I
right.
just play the game as like a solo player. Like Lost Ark, I joined a guild. I have no idea who the guild leader is. I don't know who any of the members are. I'm just like I am literally mooching off them for the stats and the abilities. And I don't think Ashes is going to be a game like that. And Gray Sentinels, the reason why I've stayed so long is legit because we have a bunch of people that play like different games, but we all kind of like talk. We're pretty active. we definitely have lurkers and stuff, don't get me wrong, but like the community of just being in the Gray Sentinels has been always like first and foremost for me, and been kind of why I've stuck around for so long.
Yeah, no, I mean it's that idea of community and family. That's why people join. They stick around because it's the idea that it's not what they can gain, but like, the idea that they can have fun while playing the game and, build these bonds and friendships. I mean, we've had people meet up in real life together, and they've they would have never met up before, but they met up and people have some uh solid, friendships growing. I mean, we even have some members who they met through the guild, so they started dating,
Yeah,
and they would have absolutely never found each other in the real world, but because they met in the game, they're on course to getting engaged now. That's things like that.
that's
You
awesome.
know, no, it is awesome.
Mhm.
And like things like that as a guild leader, like, we can have as many little trophies about sieges we win or battlegrounds or, being the most wealthy guild or whatever. All those are cool and all, but like the things for me as a guild leader that I value the most is when I can sit back and go, look at these friendships that have built because of all the hard work I put into, making sure this community stays alive and keeps growing and stuff like that. The idea that this community is something more than just a club people hang out to, grind resources in. It's a place where people escape from life, where they, go and they I don't know, they do what they need to, I don't know, just be immersed in an experience that goes away from, I guess, the darkness of the world that
Y-
we all deal with.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of us turn to gaming in general, and it's nothing new. But being able to have like a helpful community to like join in and talk to and be friendly with, I think is definitely very, very good. We are definitely reaching a pretty long point in the podcast, but we do have a few things that we want to keep going on. So I'm going to kind of move us away now that we've reached a nice, wholesome content
Right.
to end on for at least Grey Sentinel stuff. But I want
Brought to
to
you by a wholesome moment.
brought
Just
to you by a wholesome moment. Yeah. By the way, since we're doing this little cut, I'm gonna do a little ad break. Just kidding. Phantom
Jesus.
X, thank you for the follow. Mason Wolfie, thank you for the follow. Pockets Art, thank you for the follow. Penumbral, thank you for the follow. You guys are all awesome. Um, last few things. Next week is the Node Wars podcast, so we have a few topics that we're going to be wanting to talk about. So the live stream is going to be on Friday. I'm going to be watching that on my own personal stream, not on this one. And then on Sunday, we will be doing the Grey Sentinel stream, kind of talking about Node Wars and things about GS stuff and how we view the Node Wars stuff and all that afterwards. So
Wait, Node Wars is next?
Node
I wouldn't
Wars. Oh, shut the fuck up, dude. Shut the fuck up. All right. Yeah, so we will be actually streaming next Sunday as well. And then after that it's going to be monthly. So after
Yep.
the first Sunday of every month we'll be doing this again. So just as a forewarning, this was our introductory episode, and then next episode will technically be our very first episode of how we are going to be progressing forward and talking about things like in-game stuff and just generally bullshitting about what we like about Ashes of Creation and what we as a guild like to do. Andun, you had something to talk about on this matter, right?
Oh, really? Which one was that?
I don't remember. That's why I tried to defer to you and hoped
Dude,
you remembered
we
it,
we
honestly.
we derailed ourselves so much. Like I'm trying to find our spot on our little
You
sheet
wanted to
here.
talk about. I didn't even write it down, to be honest. Okay, so whoops. So we're gonna just ignore that part. Bleh. Anyways, I have a few questions before we end the podcast to talk about Ashes of Creation in general. First and foremost, we've got 5 out of the 8 archetypes coming for Alpha 2. Or
Yep.
no, 6. We have 6 archetypes coming for Alpha 2. Rogue and Summoner will not be at the launch, but they will be being brought in later throughout Alpha 2. I just wanted to know what are your thoughts about the Rogue not being showcased and being brought into the launch of Alpha 2? Should we immerse ourselves in doomerism over it, or should we just chill out and kind of, accept that things will come when they're ready?
I'm all about things coming when they're ready. And
Hey, yo, that's what she said.
the but
Sorry, I
Jesus,
had to. I am
it
Lude
was low
Lloyd. What do you?
hanging
It's in
fruit,
the
man.
name. It's in the name.
I know. But the idea with the rogue is, I think doomerism is so ridiculous. Like people being doomer about stuff randomly, it just makes no sense after we've already waited for almost 8 years now for this game. Like if you're doomering over like a class not being in at launch of A2, I mean, I don't know, buckle up because it's gonna be a long time to launch, and you're probably gonna be a lot more doomer as time goes on. But you know, just looking, I think Lazy Peon did a video last year around Christmas, and it showed all of the stuff that happened in 23. And we didn't really, when you're watching the live stream month to month, you don't notice how much stuff is actually happening,
Mm,
what's actually being accomplished. But then when you see a recap at the end of the year, so much shit is being done. They're making great progress in various different systems. So while the Rogue is not, going to be there at the launch of A2, I don't think that's something to like lose sleep over. I mean, it's going to be there eventually. It's that question of, do you want a broken game or do you want a game that, takes a bit longer and, works how it's supposed to work, but might just have a later release date. So
yeah.
yeah.
Um, I kind of agree. I think the Rogue not being in at the launch of Alpha 2, it's like, okay, well, I actually expected Bard to not be in the start of Alpha 2, but like it's Rogue. It was something I wanted to play, like to test, to like really figure out if I really wanted to play a Rogue,
Mhm.
Ranger, Mage, or something like that. With the fighter showcase, I'm like, damn, that seems pretty OP. I might check out some fighter. But like I don't really think this is anything to be like doomerist about. I think the game will come out when it's ready. The classes will come out when it's ready. However,
Mhm.
I do have a bit of a worry when it comes to like we don't even have the 8 primary archetypes yet. So what does that whole mean for the 64 class system? I think that's my bigger concern. If we have to wait a long time to get a fully fleshed out 64 class system, I actually am okay with that.
You know,
I would rather have a fully fleshed out, really kick ass 64 class system than some half assed augment system where it just changes the coloring on the visual effects. Like I would rather the system itself be good to go foundationally and the game take longer than it just come out looking half assed. What do you feel
so
about that?
you want the ice cream with the sprinkles is what you're saying, huh?
Yeah, I will wait for 10 damn minutes for my mixology drink if it looks pretty. If it
I,
looks pretty and it tastes good, I will wait 10 minutes for my fucking drink.
I mean, so I agree with you. I think it's fine to wait. I, I'm gonna take a antagonistic approach to this. I really don't care about the 64 classes. I just care about the 8. Like at the end of the day, if your primary archetypes do not work, if they are not fun, you can absolutely bet the 64 or the what the I'm not good at math. Some a number other of classes are not going to be fun either, you know.
Yeah.
So like it's the idea that they have to hammer out these primary archetypes before they can even think about going into what does that primary archetype, mesh with, I mean, we've seen a little bit in the live streams with reveals of like the fighter, the tank, the cleric, the mage. All of them have very different play styles that people can go into.
Hmm.
And I think that people, instead of trying to figure out, am I going to be a fighter cleric? They need to figure out what's their primary archetype that they're going to go. Which flavor of content, combat, mechanics do they actually enjoy? Have they played in the past? That's what matters right now,
Hmm.
and I think we're going to get there. It's just it's going to take time, and if we don't see the 64 classes until like betas, I'm fine with that. I just want to see the classes fleshed out to a point where we can see um, diversity with the classes, where we can see a fighter being able to be a tank and a DPS, or a cleric being able to be a tank or a DPS, or a healer, or a tank, or a tank, which is ridiculous. A tank being able to be a tank or DPS.
I mean,
It's
a cleric
yeah,
could be healer, and then ranger could be like range DPS, and fighter could be melee DPS. If we really want to change all these names, I think we could go along with that for sure.
mhm,
Um,
right.
I think melee DPS is much better than fighter. I don't know about you, but that's kind of how I feel about that.
Yeah, I
Obviously,
mean,
sarcasm. If you didn't catch, that's sarcasm.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
no, but I there's a lot to go with that system, and I agree with you that the primary archetype has to be nailed down first, and that the play styles have to, you have to be able to do what you want to do at the end of the
Right,
day.
right.
So even if it was the 8 primary archetypes with 3 different play styles, that's still like 24 different ways that you could play,
Mhm.
right? So like if you're either a DPS, healer, or tank, role along with the primary archetypes in your decision of the play style, that's at least something to go on, and I would be okay with that as well, as long as you have that option. Um,
Mhm. My favorite analogy to use when describing the 64 classes is, think of your primary archetype as the flavor of ice cream you go with, or chocolate, vanilla, whatever, rocky road, however. And then the secondary class you choose is your sprinkles. It's your toppings, which flavor of topping are you going with the flavor of ice cream? I don't think that necessarily that your secondary is going to be like world shatteringly different. I think it's going to change the flavor of your class and make it so you can be a little more tanky, you can be a little more cleric healy type, um and less about the idea of you being a completely different class. I look at it as it's um it's like going at the difference between fury and protection, with World of Warcraft. It's the you can go into different skill trees, but with certain secondaries. So yeah.
well, I gotta ban this guy real quick. Trying to get
Jesus, Lloyd, Lloyd, we made it. We got a bot.
we got a bot. I gotta ban him.
We got it.
Okay, get out of here. Sorry, guys. My focus was totally lost, so I missed pretty much all of that. But yeah, I agree. Sure, absolutely. Whatever you
Thank you,
said,
Lloyd. Thank you.
I'm 100% here with you. I get you. Uh, um, is it
Vanguard is a great name for the alternative for the tank.
exactly?
Because
I
I
think that's kick ass.
No, I think it's the best way, because like if you name the tank as like shield holder or something like that, it's focused too heavily on being a tank.
Shield
Like
holder.
I don't know,
I
some
I do
random
like the
like
idea of like
protector or
something
something.
going towards like the front line. You are a
Right, right,
frontliner class, you or archetype or whatever. Like
right.
you are leading the
Eh,
charge. That
yeah,
is literally Vanguard in the name, and I think that's.
yeah.
I don't think there's like an actual like class yet
Mm.
that's named Vanguard. So I think that'd actually be really cool.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect way to explain what the class is about without, saying that you have to be a tank if you're wanting if you or you have to be a tank if you're playing tank,
Mhm.
Vanguard says you're going to be up in people's faces, you're going to control the flow of battle, and you're going to hit hard. And, I think that's a good way. I agree with you, Vladis. So,
So yeah, moving on to I know Lord XP asked in chat if we're gonna do Grey Sentinel lore. Honestly, I didn't even think about that, but that's a good idea. Maybe for a future episode we can do that.
yeah, I could do a little bit of that, I mean, I know that we got a few of our boys are trying to make some videos and stuff for us for social media future things, and part of our podcast could be us also watching those videos and making comments on it. Like
Mhm.
I know Morador was planning to make some lore videos and stuff like that, and
Yeah, that
we
is
could
something
play
that we
those.
definitely plan on doing as a guild, right?
Yeah,
Is we're gonna be doing like skits, we're gonna be doing RP
right.
events, and we're gonna be doing like certain like different trailers and stuff in the future.
Mhm.
Hopefully, if we can get it all together and get the
Yep.
production team going. But I mean that's stuff that we definitely want to do. Hopefully, we can get it together and actually start doing those things. Um, and all of that just comes from having fun and doing this as people want to or not. So that's
Right.
stuff that we want to do. Hopefully, we can achieve that in the future. Um, but to kind of bring us back to the last kind of topics of the stream, I know you're a PI member, so feel free to decline any answer or stray away from any questions that may put you under NDA risk. But what are your expectations for the Bard? If you've seen it already in testing, please feel free to decline, like whatever you expect to see. But so far, the only thing that we've really been able to hear from outside of the PI world is that they will be able to do some sort of DPS. They will do proximity based buffing or debuffing. And they will be more of like a support character. And then we saw the little teaser of that bard playing the flute, jamming out, flinging people off the edge of a mountain. So
I wish you could play that right now, but that's
it
okay.
takes a little bit of effort.
I know,
Otherwise, I
I
would
know.
absolutely do it.
Oh, yep. Do you want the serious or the silly answer first?
I want both, but I want,
Gi-
you know what, give me silly first.
Give
I'm
you a
feeling a little
silly.
silly.
Bards should have a charisma check when facing enemy bosses that the boss will just give up because
I roll for seduction.
yes, you
I
roll
want to fuck
for
the dragon.
seduction. Yeah, I would laugh so hard if that's the reason you bring a bard with you is for an easier fight. Like they seduce a few of the ads away from the fight. Like that's like
Well, there.
you remember
uh,
in World of Warcraft with the succubus warlock thing.
Oh my
What
god.
if the bard did like the thing that the succubus does? I think it'd be funny,
Oh my god. Uh,
Where is this?
that'd be hilarious. No, but
But
on a serious note,
yeah.
charming is an actual CC ability that is in other games. You can look at like Evelyn from League of Legends, where you can like actually charm your opponent and it will like kind of taunt them a little bit.
Mhm.
So I think that would be an interesting mechanic. Actually, unironically, uh, charisma check on bosses and stuff like that seems a little bit of a stretch, but
Who knows, when that loot pull comes out, I
oh,
don't
you know
know.
what?
But
Oh my god. What if I play as a bard? I'll
What if
seduce the
you play
dragon.
as a bard? You'll seduce the dragon. Lude Lloyd at it again.
Yep.
uh, yeah, I
Um.
mean, so
Yeah.
my serious thing though about the bard, where do I see it going? What do I want out of it? I think the easiest thing to say is I want to see it be a class that actually matters. I don't want it to just be like what a paladin was like in vanilla WoW, where they are just like a buff bot. I
Hmm.
want the bard to not only buff people around them, but also be a target in PvP. Like if they're the center of all the passives and the buffs, people should want to target them. But the bard should also have a lot of knockbacks, a lot of CCs, even have the ability to take their loot and crash it over someone's head. That'd be cool. I'm
Yeah.
all for those things. I want the bard to be more than just support. Make it DPS or even a tank bard. I want to see these things happen. So I'm hoping for those. And Steven, or a few weeks ago, the Intrepid social media team asked the question, "What type of instruments would you like to see for the bard?" And obviously the usual lute, flute, stuff like that
Bagpipes.
came out. I absolutely want bagpipes in the game. But I would love to see players be able to choose whatever type of instrument they want, and that instrument has an effect on their gameplay. I think that'd be awesome to see. Because
I'm a little
if
bit different. I have a little bit of a different opinion. I want them to choose
okay,
whatever instrument that they want, but I don't think it should impact their gameplay. I think they should still be able to do whatever bard spells they want to do. But I don't think like if I choose a flute over a lute, I guess. Let me just change the lettering a little
the
bit.
flute
Let
to
me
the
just
lute,
drop the
yeah,
F real quick. If you play a flute versus a lute, I don't want the gameplay to be different. Like I don't want like some different effect happening because of a lute versus the flute.
yeah, no, it's probably chibi.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
so. I think
I
Vertex
think
been
it's
working all
chibi.
day.
Yeah, Vertex working, I think. But chibi, I agree with that. Impacting in terms of augments, I agree. I think that's how it should be. Like it changes up the flavor because as we've seen in recent streams, the skill trees and stuff also have weapon skill trees.
Hmm.
So I think that different instruments might do different things.
Well, what if it's like well, it's like a one hand thing versus like one handed sword versus two handed sword or instrument. Like it would be an instrument skill tree. It wouldn't be like a flute skill tree, right?
You know what? I think it'd be hilarious if there was a bard that used maracas. Just,
Tap
but like,
dancing. Dude,
no,
actually,
but
you know what? I haven't seen a bard that like we always associate bards
lutes and
with like
stuff like that.
instruments. I
Yeah,
want a bard that can dance. I want a bard that can juggle. I want a bard that like can do other
sings.
things like sing. Yeah, like I want bards that can do different things other than just play instruments.
Right. It'd be fun. I'm hoping for all sorts of different things for the bard. I mean, because it's a class that I've even considered. If it's fun, I might even make a bard. I don't know what Anduin's going to be. It's kind of up in the air as more and more classes get revealed on how they actually play.
Hmm.
Uh, but I would love to see people being able to play their bard however it is. They don't have to have an instrument. They can, be a singer or a dancer or whatever. So, yeah, I agree with you.
Cool, cool. All right, well, we're nearing the end here. Do we have anything like any people in chat that want to like ask us any questions real quick before we move on to our little wrap up phase? I know the next live stream is going to be on Node Wars. They confirmed it via their little Discord and social media networks. Node Wars will 100% be the next live stream. We are going to be doing we're going to be seeing like how that is going to affect the world. And how tall am I? I'm 5'6", by the way. I am a short king with Vladis. So short kings unite.
I, I'm
Um,
I'm I'm 5'8", so short king. Let's
let's
go.
go. I mean, 5'8's not really short though.
I
Like
mean,
you're like the taller of us. You are actually the king of short kings.
the king of short. I'm the
Like you
tallest
are the
dwarf.
tallest
I love
one.
it. Oh, I love it.
uh,
Jesus.
what kind of food should have the best food buff? Ooh, that's the kind that you make on your guild freehold. Does the guild have any thoughts on it? Oh, well, actually, do you have a answer for that, Anduin? Best food buff?
Best food buff. Um, I think ones that are from like rare sources. So like dragon meat, for example, should give great food buffs. So that means that the raiders who did raid that dragon and took the time to go out and die repeatedly to learn its mechanics and stuff, they're rewarded by, getting the dragon meat so they can make the dragon, stew or whatever. So
I mean, that's kind of what I mean,
pay-per-views.
though, actually, is like you would
Right.
get that meat from the dragon, and then like you would use either your freehold or your guild freehold tavern or whatever to make that food, and that food
Mhm.
would give the best buff.
I
Um,
would I think I would like to see food act in sort of a Valheim way, where you eat the food, it expands out your stamina, it expands out that rather than food just being like a passive buff to something. I would like to see, a diverse amount of food that does a diverse amount of things.
Yeah, I'm not actually a big fan of food buffs. Actually, it's like an extra chore for me, and I hate it. And I hate it because like you have to eat food to be competitively viable, at like the highest ends of like combat. So I don't like it. I know it's going to be in the game. I'm just going to have to suck it up. So I mean, that's my point of view on that. But um, does the guild have any thoughts on an eventual guild wiki to document our guild slash server's journey or something? And I think we do, right? We have plans to have scribes in the guild who take notes on everything, what's happening on the servers. Obviously, Intrepid is going to have like server story arcs already posted on the server, but we're going to be talking about like things the guild has done on the server and like alliances and stuff like that as well, right?
Sorry, I was paying attention to our sponsor for today and GS Memes. Today's
Oh God,
podcast is brought to you by GS Gruel, where it's not great, but it's technically food. So
there you
there's
go.
there you
That's
go.
sounds like
Sorry,
us.
ask your question again. Sorry, I get easily distracted. The ADHD man. So
Dude, I understand. I totally understand. I, Guild Wiki on blah 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 things that we do in the guild and on the server. Do we have like some way to document this on like our journey as like role players, as like sort of like lore building and stuff like that? And I believe the answer is yes, because we do plan on having like scribes who want to make these kind of notes as we go along and create our guild story as well.
hmm yeah, I think we've tossed around the idea of potentially getting a guild website in the future. I don't see a reason really for it right now, but in the future, when we actually are writing out more lore, keeping track of all the things, it'd be nice to have a website that's just easily handy to get, uh, have access to,
I'm hoping
instead
we
of
have like some sort of thing in game, so we don't have to do a third party thing.
yeah, that would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, like just being like little bullet points of like these are the things that we did, and then
hmm
link it to the website or whatever to like really dive deep if for the people that really want to follow the lore.
Right. I do hope that we can actually with the scribe profession write books in game that you can
Hmm.
place as furniture
That would be
in your
great. That would be so
yeah.
cool.
So then people could be like in the year 365, X happened. I think that'd be really cool to be able to read books and people put spins on different events and stuff. So like 10 years down the line when you're like, I wonder what happened in 2024, people can read that book and go, "Oh, that reminds me of that event. So,
Yep.
yep.
And only our scribes will know all of the events. They'll be like, I could tell you what happened 50 years ago.
Mm,
So yeah.
exactly.
Um
I agree. You know.
we've gone quite a bit over time from what we actually anticipated, which is actually, I think, a good thing. We got
Yeah.
things to talk about. We got plenty more to talk about. Next episode is Sunday, June 2nd, literally next Sunday. Right after the Node Wars dev update. Do you have any predictions on the Node Wars live stream next week? Do you have I can't ask you that. You know too much.
I
Uh
do not know anything. I
you know
would
too much.
never.
I
I
know that you
I didn't
can't.
even know there was Node Wars going on.
Moving on. I predict that we are going to really find the answer out on whether Node Wars or Node Sieges are one and the same system or two different systems. And that was something that I was talking about on my stream personally with a bunch of people. And I was like, there's two different things on the wiki, but like it just seems like Node Wars is like the main thing that will lead up to a siege. Like that was kind of like my impression of it. But like Node Wars is like an objective based gaming so that you can like break down the other nodes' resources and like take down like certain buildings and stuff like that, or like open PvP in the world with that node. Like you're just automatically flagged. And then the siege is the part, like the finale of it. It's like a different thing, but it is like what you were, starting the node war to do.
It's different but same.
Same but different. Yeah, exactly.
I have a lot of thoughts on this, but I can't give you any of them. So
Yeah, I know. That's why I said you can't
I'm
tell
gonna
me
just
shit.
I'm just gonna say that I think it's gonna be a fun live stream. I really do think everybody should give it a watch because there's gonna be a lot of stuff that new information for people. So give it a watch. Get hyped up. It's gonna be great.
Nice. So I will be co-streaming that live stream Friday on my personal Twitch channel if you want to come check it out. Obviously you can go ahead and watch the original Ashes of Creation one if you don't want to hear my commentary over it and you really want to listen to what's happening. I totally understand, but I'm going to be doing that regardless. Anduin, is there anything that you'd like to plug or say here at the end of the pod?
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested about GS, how we operate, if you want to join alliances or whatever, create things of whatever nature, please get in touch with me. I would love to talk about all things Ashes with people, and bring in potential recruits. I'm all about bringing in fresh eyes, fresh ideas into the guild. So
All
just
right.
come my way.
I am going to do a little bit of propaganda and just post our link in the chat of the forums post. If you really want to
Oh
learn more
God,
about
you
us.
really spammed the
I
crap
spammed it
out of
3 times. It's
Did you?
okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna post that in chat if you want to go check it out, figure out what we're all about. You can go ahead and go there. Even if you don't want to join the guild, that's totally fine. Understand. But that should be just about anything or everything. Anything and everything. Anduin,
You're
last words. Last words.
you're gonna play the music again at the end of the stream, right?
I
For the
didn't
people
think
who
about
missed
that,
out.
but yes, I will. I will
Yeah,
absolutely play our theme song.
awesome, awesome. Let me say the words while you get that set up. So, once again, everybody, thank you all for coming. Stay golden and righteous as always, and we'll see you next Sunday. Lloyd, you got the video ready?
Yep. Once again, thank you all for
All right.
coming. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we got a theme song.
We got a theme song.
You gotta stay to listen to it.
And we'll see you next Sunday. Have a great day,
Yep,
guys.
there it goes.
We'll figure it out. Bye, guys.
All right, everybody, have a great day.
From the fount of every blessing of grey Sentinels we sing. Raise our swords, our hearts professing honor to a legion king. Our emblem, the griffin soaring, guides us as we fight. Roaring strength and valor in each knight's quest. Clothed in glory we are blessed. Grey Sentinels, armors, our mighty lords chosen. In our ranks our spirits awake. With the griffins and the nail bound, let the chorus resound. Here we doth raise our swords and duty, bound by honor, bound by grace, fighting steadfast and true. In the world of fair, our sacred place, led by our Lord and doing cave on, under the griffin's sharp gaze, we stand. In battle for our valor proven, a righteous missionary moving. Teach us grit or never soaring, all truth, no matter the cost. Guide our blades, our hearts exploring. Justice reigns, here to be lost. Uphold truth, no matter the cost. Raise our swords, our hearts professing honor to our liege and king. In battle fought, our valor proven, our righteous missionary moving. With the griffin's emblem bound, let the chorus resound. Steel and war, golden